You're listening to Where You Live with Gene Sullivan.
Welcome back to Where You Live. I'm Gene Sullivan, broadcasting from the True North Painting Studios, brought to you by American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency, and Extreme Exteriors. That was a great guest to have on the show today. Don't you think so, Chris?
It was really interesting. I was telling him off the phone that it's always cool to hear perspectives of, he's in Texas, so it's just a whole different perspective on things.
Yeah, I noticed when he started talking about dress code, you started buttoning your shirt up here during that segment. And
yeah, to straighten up a little bit.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you were. You're looking good.
Thank you. I try.
Well, folks, before we get into our next story here, I'd like to let everybody know that we have a free gift for you. At Where You Live, we put together a bi-monthly newsletter called What's New. A lot of the topics that we go over on the radio show are covered in further detail. People that we have on the show are also people that write for that newsletter. It's yours free for the asking. All you need to do is give us a call at New Concepts during the week at 952-922-2500. Ask for Lori. She'll make sure that you start receiving your copy either electronically or by mail. Well, let's turn to another story, shall we? And this is really interesting. A lot of people that have been involved with homeowner associations or know someone who lives in a homeowner association, there are things that are stereotypes that you always hear. And that's part of the reason why we have the show, is to let folks know what is really going on. And unfortunately, I think homeowner associations do get a bad reputation. And you get that all the time from local news reporters. Politicians. Oh, the politicians, let me tell you. They love to play out that stereotype. You know, the board members, they're overzealous, they're ogres, they're mean, they want things done their way. They are Nazi-like in the way they go about operating the property. But what's interesting is that there was a study done by the American Enterprise Institute. And that is a great organization in the think tank. And they came out and they asked the question, what would it have been like here in the United States if there were no homeowner associations anywhere in the United States? Kind of like the movie It's a Wonderful Life, you know, when George finally realizes what would his life have been like had he not been around. Well, they asked, the American Enterprise Institute said, what would have happened? What would the United States be like without homeowner associations? Here's what they found out. This is really interesting. Number one, according to the American Enterprise Institute, in their recent study, they said if there were no homeowner associations anywhere, your home would probably be worth about 5% less. That's right. The data showed them that because of homeowner associations, the values of property increased by at least 5 to 6%. And to give you kind of an idea or sort of the bigger picture here, today, if I'm correct, I believe 1 out of 5 homes in the United States are in a homeowners association. That translates to about 25 million homes in community associations throughout the United States. The value of just the real estate of those 25 million homes is somewhere in the vicinity of about $4 trillion. Now, if you didn't have homeowner associations, just the value, roughly, what would that have meant with 5% less? That would have meant roughly about $200 billion. If you didn't live in a homeowner association, lived in another home, your home would of equal value, you'd be worth about 5 or 6% less. That's about $200 billion lost, which they said is more than the entire economic output of the state of Alabama for 2012. And the reason for that is simple. People decry that homeowner associations are just so picky, but it's because of the architectural control, because of that aesthetic consistency with colors and what people can do, that the American Enterprise Institute found out that not only do homes in homeowner associations have better value, but the homes around them can also count on increased value. Because when someone's buying a home, they don't want that ugly home that sticks out like a sore thumb. They want to see things that look nice and are pleasing. That's what our last guest talked about. Even people that are renting, they want to have a sense of pride in the place where they live. And so that was one thing that the American Enterprise Institute found out. The second thing that they found out was that if there were no homeowner associations, that would they said that would affect of eliminating community associations would be the result of then higher taxes and bigger government. So why would there be higher taxes and bigger government? Well, each year the AEI found out that of all of these homeowner associations, about 2 million people end up volunteering to serve on the board of their HOA. If you take the value of each volunteer's time that they give to serve on the board, that's approximately $850 million per year, meaning that if they are providing a homeowner association necessary services like snow removal and upkeep of roads and delivery of utilities and lights and so much more, just like a city. And if you weren't getting these people to volunteer, the city would have to do that for all the people because there's no HOA. And so you would have $850 million easily more spent just in salaries. They also said that HOAs assess themselves for these necessary services. And because of that, the annual amount of these assessments comes to approximately $40 billion. That's right. So $40 billion is the cost of those services that people in a homeowner association assess themselves to have taken care of. If they didn't do it and they expected the city or municipality where these homes were, that would mean that you would have to have larger state and local governments, more people hired, bigger government, and higher taxes. But so they found number two, that was another result. The third thing that they found out from this study, that if there were no homeowner associations whatsoever in the United States, they said we'd probably all feel less connected to our neighborhoods. They found out that when they went out and they just surveyed people living in homeowner associations now, that nearly 90% of all who were surveyed living in an HOA felt that the people on the board of directors for their property worked hard to protect their interests and their property. Now, contrast that to what most Americans have a view of Congress. I think it's around 14% of people that even have a favorable view of Congress, let alone a view or understanding that people in Congress have their best interests at heart and the best interests of their property. And so what a stark comparison that is. They also presented a specific question to people living in a homeowner association. The AEI asked the question, who is in the best position to make decisions for their community. 8 out of 10 homeowners living in homeowner associations felt that the people who were elected on their board of directors for their homeowners association were in a better position to make decisions for their community and neighborhood, because community associations are governed by neighbors. And because of that, they're in the best position to respond to the changing needs of their community much more than Congress. And so I found it just fascinating, this study that came out saying, well, here's some reasons why living in an HOA, you know what, isn't so bad. And the other thing that they didn't even bring out, and this is the obvious, and that is this idea or notion that there's a great economic savings too. When you stop and think about it, people buy into a homeowner association because there's a greater economy of scale that you see. When you live in a homeowners association of 80 units, 100 units, and you go out to get a bid for lawn care and snow removal. I was talking to a homeowners association a couple nights ago, and one of the things we brought out was they were getting all snow removal, all lawn care, all trees trimmed, shrubs trimmed, and herbicide put down, all of that for a cost of about $32 a month per home. But you live in a single family home in the wintertime and you try to get someone to plow for you, you're hard pressed to get someone to come out for less than $50 a time. So there are a lot of reasons why HOAs are really a desired and preferred lifestyle of living for a lot of people and continuing to grow. Well, hey, we need to take a break. Don't go away. We've got one more segment of Where You Live. But first, we need to listen to these messages.